Welcome back. You're listening to The Way Home with Laura Smith. Here's Laura.
Oh, I love it when my friends introduce me to new friends who are so fabulous. And in this case, an old friend of mine said, oh, you have to talk to my friend Roberta. I said, I've seen her online with you over the years, many years, but I've never gotten to meet her. And he said, well, she has a fairly new book and she is so fantastic. I think your listeners are really going to get something out of this. So I'm so excited to have Roberta Bergman here. She has a great book with something that I know I have many friends that deal with back pain. And so they are going to get something out of this. And, you know, even if you never have before, but if you ever do, you want to know what to do. Back on Track is the name of the book, The Lifestyle and Exercise Guide on Healing Back Pain. Roberta, thank you so much for joining us today. You're quite the guru when it comes to fitness and healthy lifestyle and wellness and mind-body connection. In fact, your company, Body Formula, I love that. So thank you so much. You've been doing this forever. Give us some background on your expertise, and then we'll focus on the book.
Okay, sure. Well, I've been teaching exercise my entire adult life and have been dedicating my career to helping people harness their health. And that's done in so many different ways. The first one, of course, is exercise, most importantly. But another one is improving your mental attitude about your health and about your fitness levels. And it's not just the obvious benefits of exercise that I want people to realize, but it's also the not so obvious benefits of creating a good, calm, sound mind and body, and developing a stressless body and mind. So what I'm saying is, if you think about how your back is feeling and how your body feels and how you view your health, you might want to work on certain aspects of it that enhance your experience of your physical body.
I love that. You know, you were writing in the book on how naturally as a child you watched, was it your mother or your grandmother do exercises?
Oh, yeah. My grandmother to Jack LaLanne. Remember that?
Jack LaLanne. Of course I do. That even predated Sweating with the Oldies with Richard Simmons, right? Jack LaLanne. He was like the movie star meets, Tarzan or something. He just had this great. But yeah, so you said that was something that you did naturally. You got up every day and exercised as a child. I was the complete opposite. It wasn't my thing. I would rather sit and think and listen to music and do art and things like that. Nothing involved any exercise whatsoever. And PE was my least favorite class. So I was so excited to you have a lot of gentle information here. That's not one of those just get out there and start exercising and sort of drill sergeant. You really do it in a beautiful, mindful way so people don't have this guilt. There's so much guilt around exercising and not exercising. So talk about that, the connection, the emotional aspects of exercising and incorporating it into our lives.
Okay. Well, I'm going to really confer with you because my sister hated to exercise also, and she would yell at me that I'm sweating in her room and to get out. So I know not everybody likes to exercise. But it doesn't really matter if you don't like it. You have to find something that you enjoy doing, even if it's walking, even if it's a short walk, it's better than nothing. But I want to say that many people cannot handle that hardcore exercise with weights and go for the burn. And my approach is the complete antithesis of that. So that's how I got into the mind-body connection. I did a master's of science in movement therapy, where we had to study the body therapies. And two, which I want to speak about most, is the Alexander method of good posture, where you're holding yourself upright and you know that you're not drooping forward, but your arms out to the side, shoulders back, chin into the chest, and you're in fairly good posture. Because if you aren't, there are postural misalignments that really can hurt your back over time. Mm-hmm. But the other method, and the most important one, is the Feldenkrais method, developed by a man named Moshe Feldenkrais, who shattered his knees in a car accident and created 2,000 movement lessons to heal his own body, and then taught it, and you can become certified in that method. I did not become certified, but I've studied it my whole career because it has been the most healing for people.
Yeah, what this is bringing back to me. So I was a theater major in New York at Adelphi University. I went to a 4-year conservatory theater program. Our first class of every day of that 4 years was a movement class. And so the Alexander technique and the Feldenkrais were all things that I heard of. They incorporated these. And movement was the very first class that we had to take at 8 a.m. This was this was unheard of for me because exercising was hard as it was. It wasn't my thing. But to get up at 7 o'clock and be ready in a leotard at 8 o'clock in the morning was also not my thing. But I grew to appreciate it and love it. And to this day, I just met with some of my theater friends from decades ago after we graduated, and we were mimicking things that were said to us in movement class and the music that would be playing while we were doing this. So I hear what you're saying, and that posture thing, that's kind of a throwback. My mother was always, put your shoulders back, put your shoulders back. I don't really hear parents saying that too much to kids anymore.
It's true, but it's not that they're going to listen to their parents, but the other side of that is technology, screen technology took over our lives. So let's start with kids. They're hunched over their PlayStations. Their head is drooping. The head weighs 10 to 14 pounds. It becomes like a bowling ball on the chest. And it shortens the breath because you're caving in over your chest and abdomen. So your breathing is impaired. Now, middle school, college students, and adults. We've got our iPads, we've got the computer and the phones. Again, we're hanging over these screens, right? And it's really deteriorating our posture. So one thing I tell people to do is place your screen, whatever it is, up on a 6-inch stand or get a couple of books and prop it up on the book so your head is at eye level with your screen. So you're not looking down.
Uh-huh. That makes all the sense in the world. Absolutely. Yeah. That's incredible. And is it true that posture, because like you see some people, they're very hunched over. It's sort of like the typical, like when you see a cartoon of an old person, they're all hunched over and their shoulders are bending over. Is there a way to mitigate that by being conscious of it and actually doing some type of exercises around it?
Yes, absolutely. So the most obvious postural misalignment is what you're describing as kyphosis, where the shoulders round, the head juts forward, and you're like in a question mark. The spine is a question mark. And your posture is like a handwriting signature. It's developed at an early age, and it's difficult to reverse. So what I tell people to do is stand up against a wall with your arms up like this, and put the back of your head against the wall and just climb the arms up slowly and pull them down, but keeping your shoulders and back of the head and buttocks against the wall. Do that every day, hold it here, and then walk away from the wall. That is better posture.
And the way you have your arms right now, because this is radio, so it's sort of a, what do you call it?
In a square. Out to the sides in a square here.
Okay. Yeah, that's wonderful. So if you can still, and even if you're elderly, now what if you've already got some type of, is it possible to reverse, some of the spinal things that we see in older adults?
If you become aware of your pelvis and where it's placed, I would suggest people take their hands, put it on the waistline, and tuck the pelvis under as if you're turning two knobs backwards, and it's pushing the pelvis forward, and then you're lifting in the breastbone. So it's a lot of different placement, but I will say this, Laura, once the bones are formed over that way, you can't change the bones because the muscles form to the bones. You can just work on the muscles, and hopefully over time, little by little, you can pull yourself up much more than where you're left.
And how important are those muscles? Let's get to that. And then also, as we weave our way, my guest is Roberta Bergman, her book is Back on Track, the lifestyle and exercise guide on healing back pain, because specifically many people are plagued with this. Gratefully, I am not, but I have friends that are, and my heart just goes out to them. They're in severe pain. And two of my friends have gotten quite serious surgeries done. And I worry so much about them because you don't want to see anyone that you love suffering. And so that one always feels like it's a biggie to me. And you like to try to turn people into opportunities to perhaps maybe deal with some of these issues with exercises and strengthening in the core area so that maybe you don't have to go that drastically. But some people do. If people have had a back surgery, Roberta, can they still be helped by various exercises, or are things changed inside?
Yes, very much. They can be changed. And you asked me before to show you an exercise that people can do just to improve that kyphosis, that poor posture. Did you ever hear of a resistance band?
Yes, those long, like stretchy bands from exercise class. Yes.
And they're not expensive, and they're user-friendly because you just wrap it around your fingers like 3 times and raise the band above your head and pull it behind your back while opening the arms out to the sides. And you would do that at least 12 to 15 times every day. Every day. Mm-hmm. That's the tricky thing. And
that's the tricky thing.
Yeah. But this is so easy, light, and nobody's watching you. You do it on your own in your home. And then press open with the band in front of you, extending the forearms out and in. And then you'll do 1 and 1. 1 back and 1 front. And watch this. To the back, your chest is opening. You're expanding through the chest, and you're toning the upper back, which is very important to improve posture. Doctors are now saying you can lift light weights above your head, whereas they used to say, don't, it's too strenuous. But the new thinking now in the medical world even is to use light weights. And when I say light, I mean 2, 3, 5 pounds. Even that will give you a benefit. So let's say you're taking the weights to the shoulders and you're raising them above your head. You could do 12 of those. It's not going to hurt your back. But the best way of detecting where your pain emanates is by lying on a mat on the floor, Laura, and bend your knees, open the arms out in a T shape. And I put this as all well laid out in my book and the audio book also. And drop the knees from side to side like windshield wipers, but slowly. That's the trick, slowly. Mm-hmm. And you'll feel, wait a minute, if I'm going to the right, that hurts my back, so you don't go down as far. Pull yourself back up to center, and let's try it on the other side. And then we would go into a fetal position, knees into the chest, arms out to the side. Here's the Feldenkrais move. You're gliding your upper arm across your chest, unraveling the arm, and your head looks at the moving arm. And then you bring it back in. And again, gentle movements on your back on a mat. You will feel how much you can move without pain. If there's pain, you don't go that far. You pull it back, which is against like the basic theory of no pain, no gain. No, that's not how you're going to improve your body health.
So will you actually be able to get rid of pain by doing these gentle exercises every single day? Will eventually you be able to work out the pain?
Yes, that's the point of doing it slowly so you detect it, and eventually the pain dissipates. Okay, here's another thing. A very famous physical therapist, Robin McKenzie, has people lying on their stomach, propped up on the elbows like a sphinx, and then extending the arms up, the elbows up. And the pain, let's say it's in a circle in the lower back. By holding this position, that area decreases, diminishes, and eventually goes away, which is what you want. But like you said, it's got to be from doing it regularly and focusing on your back.
Well, the beauty of Roberta Bergman's book, Back on Track, the Lifestyle and Exercise Guide on Healing Back Pain. She has pictures in there. You remember that when we were younger, it was always so much easier to be able to visualize it if you actually see pictures. Well, she's got them in the book, and the instructions are so easy friendly and user friendly, I should say. And they're wonderful. She uses herself as the model in here, and she's demonstrating in all the pictures in the book so that you can see exactly what to do. It's lovely that it's not so clinical. And so I know you have an advanced degree in health and wellness sciences of the exercising, but you very, very easy to understand. It's something that you can all take in. It's not so clinical and so scientific that it gets too hard.
I love that. Yes, that's exactly right. I am not a doctor, and I don't profess to be, of course, although I'm married to one. That has nothing to do with it. And in the audiobook, it's really easy because the publisher sends each person a PDF file of all the exercise, so you can just scroll down and it's easier to see and work with. Then you get on the floor and do them yourself.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Really is. Now, again, with people that have been suffering for whatever reason, like I'll say to a friend, why are you in so much pain? Oh, the doctor said I have something discs, things that I don't really know what they are scientifically, but things are wrong with their discs or their spinal stenosis, or they have like some kind of a, curvature in their spine or something. There's all sorts of these things that feel and sound very critical and very serious. But do you think that some of these things can be mitigated if you start early enough, or even if you've waited too long? Like me, I have just started walking again on a treadmill. I'm doing 45 minutes to an hour every day, just because I've got to move, and at least it's something. But eventually I would like to do some of these strengthening exercises like you have here. But I'm going to be the gentle one. I'm going to be the one to do like you have in your book here, because I'm not the person to go to the gym and lift those weights and everything. But for the friends that have some of these serious things, do you take that into consideration with the exercises?
Absolutely. And I want to tell you what else. Besides walking on land, I also teach water exercise. It is so therapeutic to just walk in the water. Those friends of yours, if they would get into a pool, now it's getting nice out, not too nice yet, but if they get an indoor pool or an outdoor pool, simply walk in the water and grab a noodle, which costs nothing, $6, and push the noodle forward and back as you're walking to get a little upper body stretching and strengthening. And then you would go drag that noodle under the water, so you really work your shoulders also. And the water, the physiological properties of the water are especially good for the joints, because your body is 90% buoyant in the water, so you don't even feel you have 10% of your body weight. You're 90% buoyant. So you're not going to feel like you do on land. So it's a gentle exercise. But when you're done with 40 minutes, 30 minutes in the pool, you'll walk out like you feel like you just got a massage.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Great. Yes, I've heard that it's so good because it's not that sort of a violent, a type of pushing of you in the water. Things are much more gentle. And yes. I think that's absolutely a great idea. I hadn't even thought of that, but it is. And it's also a good way just to get cardio in, right? Because it's harder to walk in the water. So that's a wonderful tip. Yes. Good, wonderful stuff here. Roberta, do you speak anywhere? Do you travel? Do you have videos? Besides your wonderful book here, how can people find you and all of the rest of your works and your writings?
Thank you. Well, people, you can follow me on Instagram at Body Formula Fitness, and I continually post tips for the back, arthritis, and wellness. A lot of people have finger and, hand pain, so you've got to exercise even your fingers, if you could believe it or not. And those exercises are also in my book. Also, I have 4 health and fitness DVDs that you can stream on Vimeo, or go to your library and go to Hoopla You need your library card. And my videos, you can download them and stream them. And I have one called the Back Shape Up series, which is perfect for your friends with back pain.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Oh, that's wonderful. Roberta Bergman is my guest. She's an ACE certified fitness trainer, speaker, and now author of this fantastic book, Back on Track, the lifestyle and exercise guide on healing back pain. And you can find her at Body Formula Fitness, at Body Formula Fitness. She's also on TikTok and Facebook at Body Formula. It's a way to remember it, very easy. But Roberta Bergman, I am so grateful that you came on today, because your wonderful, clear and gentle way of describing these things makes me feel that even I might enjoy it and get into it.
I know you could, Laura, and you're doing well getting on the treadmill. But I look forward to you trying water exercise and seeing if it's even more motivating for you to do some movement.
You've got it. I really appreciate it. One more time. Back on Track is the book. You can get it in the audio version or in a regular book, wherever fine books are sold. Back on Track, the lifestyle and exercise guide on healing back pain. Roberta Bergman, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure meeting you. Anyone who's a friend of Paul's is a friend of mine. And now you're my friend. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful stuff.